Satan's most dangerous weapon is not the chaos around you but the whispers within you, because if he can control your thoughts, he can control your choices, and if he controls your choices, he can slowly choke out your destiny. This is why the Bible warns in Proverbs 23 verse 7, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," because the battlefield of your life is not your circumstances but your mind. The enemy does not always show up with horns and fire. He often enters through subtle suggestions, planting doubt, fear, and lust into your thought patterns until you begin to believe they are your own, and once you accept them as truth, you unconsciously start living them out, just like Eve, who first entertained the serpent's question before she ever touched the fruit. Satan knows if he can convince you that you are powerless, worthless, or unloved, then he does not even need to fight you openly, because you will sabotage yourself with your own thoughts, replaying past mistakes, magnifying insecurities, and obsessing over lies. That is why Paul warned in 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5 to cast down imaginations and bring every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. The shocking truth is that many of the battles you think are external, your broken relationships, your failures, your constant temptations, are secretly fueled by the internal war you haven't noticed, because Satan understands that whoever owns the narrative of your mind owns the direction of your life, and if you constantly meditate on fear, anger, or guilt, then your life will follow that path like a ship steered by an invisible hand. He will lure you into cycles where you justify sin in your mind long before committing it in your actions, tricking you to believe it's not that bad, or God will forgive me anyway, until you are bound by habits you swore you would never allow. That's why James 1 verses 14 to 15 shows how desire, when conceived in the mind, gives birth to sin, and sin, when fully grown, leads to death. The enemy also uses distraction as a weapon, because if he can flood your mind with noise, constant scrolling, endless entertainment, obsessive worry, then you will have no room for God's voice, and without the renewing of your mind through the Word, Romans 12 verse 2, you will conform to the pattern of the world without realizing it, thinking you are simply living life, when in reality you are being programmed. But here is the warning many overlook. Satan does not need to destroy you if he can simply delay you, because wasted years, broken focus, and corrupted thinking can rob you of the very opportunities God has been preparing, and you may still be breathing while your destiny is bleeding out in silence. So you must guard your mind like the most precious treasure, filling it with truth, because Philippians 4 verse 8 commands you to think on what is pure, lovely, and praiseworthy, not because it sounds nice, but because your thoughts are gateways to your spiritual reality. The shocking but liberating truth is that Satan has no real authority over you, only the authority you surrender to him through agreement, and the moment you start declaring God's word over your life, breaking agreement with lies, and refusing to let his whispers dictate your choices, you step into the freedom Christ promised in John 8 verse 32, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." The hidden war in your mind is not just about what you think but about who you will become, because the devil knows if he can keep you enslaved in thought, you will never walk in the authority God has given you, but if you dare to rise, take every thought captive, and let the Spirit of God renew your inner man daily, then no scheme, no lie, and no mental chain will be able to hold you back. The question is, will you keep letting the enemy narrate your story, or will you finally silence his voice and live in the truth God has already spoken over you?